What's going on, dudes and dudettes? A big happy 26-year anniversary to the original Mummy in 1999 with Brendan Fraser. So that was obviously pretty crazy. And last year I was able to watch the 25-year anniversary back in theaters, but just watched it earlier on today, which is pretty cool. So yeah, congrats on big time anniversary once again, a day before my dog's birthday. So yeah, hopefully she enjoys her day as you're watching this. But when it comes to Duke basketball, yes, they did get another commitment from the transfer portal and a player from Rice. I believe he's a center. And Efeani Ufochukwu. He's a 6'11 center, averaged only like 3 minutes per game in 16 games before finally redshirting and saving his year. But big time body. Looks like he's not going to be trying to get a lot of playing time or worrying about that as of late. So at least this year he could be your backup center coming off the bench and helping you out with whether it's fouls or just size and stuff to help out some of those starters. And then hopefully next year he'll be ready to go and be more of a contributing factor for the team. So looking forward to seeing what he can bring to the roster next year. And then when it comes to a new assistant coach they did hire Evan Brads as a new assistant coach for the basketball team. He graduated from Belmont, then he was an assistant coach with the Maine Red Claws with his G League team in the NBA. Then he was a video analyst for the Boston Celtics, and he became a player enhancement coach for Boston. And then the past 3 seasons, he's been the assistant coach / player development for the team and the Utah Jazz. So yeah, nice and up and coming assistant coach guy. Luckily, he kind of took a step down, if you could say that, to go from the NBA to college. But maybe Duke is going to be end up paying him a little bit more than being a lower level assistant in the NBA. So maybe it's a good opportunity. Solid, has a chance to move up a little bit. I know Duke usually doesn't hire outside of their Duke coaching / ex-players tree, but they did that with Jay Lucas in the past couple seasons, and it worked out pretty well for them recruiting wise and all that stuff too. And now he's gone on to Miami. So, and they've done that with another couple of assistant coaches pretty recently, at least John Shire has. So he's changing the format up a little bit from what Coach K used to do, but still keeping on at least half of your assistant coaches as ex-Duke players or Duke personnel. So either way, I'm happy about this and looking forward to seeing how he can help out the team the next couple of years at least. And then on the football side, they did get a transfer portal commitment from a tight end, Landen King, who started his career at Auburn, then just recently transferred from Utah. So I guess he's a pretty talented guy. Went to a couple of talented ex-schools, so hopefully he can help out the Duke men's football team this season. And on the women's basketball side, they did get a couple of commitments. I think they are high school players. His first player was Taylor Sofilkenic, and then the second player was Sanai Green. And it looks like she's in the class of 2026, and they both say committed on there. So I'm assuming this is part of the 2026 class. So the next season, not this season coming up, but the following season is when they will be on the roster and on campus. So already loading up a couple of very talented ladies coming into the fold at least a couple years from now. So hopefully they can add more to this future class. And then speaking of Coach K, he was recently inducted into the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Hall of Fame for the class of 2025. So yeah, big congrats to him, obviously going in as a 3-time gold medalist coach for Team USA basketball. So yeah, great. It's great what he has done for basketball overall in his career. But yeah, definitely very awesome that he was able to win a couple of gold medals, especially a couple with Kobe too. That was pretty awesome. And then head coach Cara Lawson of the women's side, she has been named the head coach of the women's basketball team for the FIBA Women's AmeriCup. So congrats to her. And speaking of a lot of guys who were invited to the NBA Combine, from Duke, Cedric Coward, Isaiah Evans, Concanupa II, Cooper Flagg, Sion James, Tyrese Proctor, and Kaman Malawach. We were kind of expecting at least 4 of those guys. Coward and Evans, it was kind of like they were dipping their toes, but nobody thought they were going to get invited to the Combine. So now this kind of puts their season of returning up in the air, because if they hear some good feedback and they feel like even if they get drafted in the second round and they're good with that, at least they're going to be in the NBA. So they might end up transferring out, and that kind of hurts Duke as of right now, because a lot of the good transfers and high school players already picked other places thinking those guys would come back. But hopefully they don't hear as too good of rich news from the NBA and end up returning to Duke. But either way, we'll have to wait and see. And then when it came to an ex-USC player, Desmond Cloud, apparently Duke has reached out to him pretty recently. So yeah, that was pretty awkward to see him getting reached out, but you know, it looks like maybe they're probably hearing one of those two guys is not going to be returning, and he was basically USC's first or second best player last season. So we'll see what ends up with that situation. A couple of high school recruiting for the updates on the men's side. There was a 4-star in 2026, Sebastian Wilkins. He took his official visit pretty recently. He's like a 6'8", versatile player, number 17 in ESPN's 100 overall. Then the 2025 4-star Braden Hawthorne was on an official visit to Duke. So yeah, that's another guy who can end up being added to this year's team if those other two guys end up not going. So I guess they're doing their homework as if they are going. And then 247 Sports released their final 2025 5-stars in their basketball rankings, and a couple of Duke guys made that list. Cameron Boozer was number 3 overall, and Nicholas Kamenia was number 15. So yeah, big time. Congrats to those two incoming Duke players. And then looks like breaking news from the ACC. Looks like they're moving the schedule of 20 games to 18 league games, which you could kind of see how it hasn't been officially made because Duke hasn't put out like posters or posts about it online about who they're playing this season coming up, because every year you kind of do your own schedule and kind of set it up pretty late in the process of who you're going to be playing. But they're kind of adding a lot of good non-conference people, like very highly watched and viewed games against some very good teams out there that went pretty far in the tournament this last season. So I know they did that last year, playing a lot of good teams, and they just added a couple more. I know I will talk about that when it becomes official at some point, who they added officially to their schedule, but maybe they already heard the news that that was going to happen, so added 2 more quality games instead of playing like, you know, the lower level ACC games. So we'll see how that turns out. And when it came to some football sides, apparently they're the second among 70 Power 4 teams to have the fewest portal entrants from their team. So yeah, that's pretty good, keeping a lot of those guys on the roster. Then ESPN released their top defensive backs in 2025. Chandler Rivers of Duke was number 7 on that list, and receiving votes was Caleb Weaver. So yeah, some big time guys returning for Duke. Then Anna Gold was drafted, it says round 3, pick number 1 by Blaze in that, I think that's at AU, but see, I don't know where Blaze, yeah, it says AUSL on that graphic, and then this other graphic says AUSL drafted Anna Gold round 1, pick number 9. So I don't know which round or what pick she was in, but she did get selected. So yeah, big congrats to her. Obviously, one of the better players on this year's roster. And then the All-ACC team came out for them. Obviously, Anna Gold was on there. Amina Vega, Diuana Jennings, Thessa Malaulu, and then Danny Drogmiller, the pitcher, was on there too. And then Thessa Malaulu was named the ACC Defensive Player of the Year. If I'm saying your name incorrectly, I apologize, but trying our best here, trying our best. And then when it came to their seeding in the 2025 ACC Softball Championship Tournament, they are a number 4 team, number 4 seed, so they will wait for the winner of Stanford and Pittsburgh. So either way, I think they should be able to advance and hopefully defeat Florida State and leading them on to the Final Four. So a couple of quick things I wanted to add in between or at the end of this Duke video. So yes, the other day, I think it was Thursday, the ACC Championship Tournament started for the softball team, and they were able to defeat a team a little bit higher than them in Stanford 7-0. So yeah, that was a big time victory. But then sadly this morning on Friday, they did lose to the number 1 team in Florida State 3-2. So yeah, they battled out to the very end, but yes, sadly ended up losing. And I believe the selection show is this Sunday, so I'm sure they're going to get in no matter what, just not as high of a seed anymore. Maybe they will host at some point during the tournament, because they definitely deserved to do that last season, but that did not happen. So we'll see where they fall in that tournament. And then on the women's basketball side for Duke, yes, there was some recruiting news. A player in JC Abbey with 2 eyes, a 5-star prospect in the class of 2026, has set up a Duke visit, but she also set up visits to like LSU, Tennessee, a couple other good schools like Texas also. So yeah, she's going after all the top dogs, and then now Duke is involved in all those recruiting battles too. That's what they wanted, to go after some of the better players out there. So they're gonna have to grind it out with some of those top teams. So at least they're in the running, which is always good. They're getting an official visit hopefully soon. So hopefully chances of picking Duke. And then the men's baseball team were playing against Radford, and then they got that first victory 15-0, and then they defeated them again 17-5. Then they had another game against Queens the other day and defeated them 12-2. So yeah, a couple of easier teams to go against, and they were able to throttle them pretty easily. So hopefully that's some good momentum for them heading into their postseason tournament that will soon most likely be happening. So thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. I know I will probably do a update on the Olympic sports, do a separate video of that coming up pretty soon, because there's a little bit too much to add to this and already around 10 minutes, so I will save you guys from that. Like I said, thanks again, and let's go Duke.